Hello race fans, I'm Austin Hack filling in for Jeff Klainer this week to bring you the return of AARO Amp Energy Racing Series competition for this season, the AAA Shootout at the famed Livonia Raceway in Michigan. Taking out the AAA pole order, we have Mike Oppenheimer. Driving his cell phone number 99 Dodge Charger, was a Rookie of the Year contender last year. As we are waiting on him to lead the field to the green flag, and there he goes, thundering past already, the number 1 Ford of Alex Jates. As they enter the first couple of turns, meagerly banked at, I believe, around 15 degrees. But as they head onto the backstretch, is Oppenheimer already building a fairly big lead, 30 degrees. Those last couple of turns, so quite the anomaly this racetrack has. That's always been its selling point. Those two different ends of the track with 2 different degrees of banking. The battle for second you might have seen peeking into your screen in the first shot, Herb Cilantro, the 2010 champion, Alex Jates, the 1, and Will Legge, the Rookie of the Year last year. He and Alan Reed, the car behind him, the Bass Pro Shops machine, brand spanking new Buick Regals. Alan Reed's in the 19's former success at this track is also worth mentioning. He won the Livonia 250 in 1998, driving a paint scheme very similar to the one he's driving already. Here's Chad Lipinski for Evola Motorsports, nearly turning around David Lee Bibson, the 57. Of course, Bibson was quite the prodigy in 2009, winning 2 races right off the bat, and he entered competition late in the season, but I don't think he was very happy with whatever Chad Lipinski in the 18 just did to him. Some great driving by him, being able to hang on to that car, but as we were saying, David Lee Bibson, oh no! Oh, he almost got turned again! That was Tyler Diefer in the number 20 car, new sponsor on that machine, but David Lee Bibson has to be shaking in his racing shoes right now, nearly getting turned around twice over in the span of about a lap or 2. Now here he is just a bit later battling with Cody Lackman, the 34, and more contact! He goes up into Tyler Diefer! Greg Sauer involved, and Bibson hard right side into the wall. That's going to be our first yellow flag of the day on lap number 4 as Bibson limps across the line. We'll show you an instant replay here. I believe Bibson actually comes down into the 34, pushes up into the 20 as he loses control, and then Greg Sauer just has too little time to react, nowhere to go, and we'll show you an onboard cam from his car in a second, and he's actually driving an all-new Pontiac Trans Am. We'll explain how they came to be in the series later on, but there's the contact. He's going to try and shoot for the outside, but Bibson comes down, and he ends up getting minimal right side damage to that 24 car. On board the 20 now, there's Bibson coming down, and there is Tyler Diefer slapping the wall with the right side of this car. He would not go out of the race, nor would anyone else. But Diefer, the other subway guy, as the other drivers affectionately called him at the beginning of the 08 season, he lost 50 pounds just before then. And Diefer, a native of Ontario, Canada, but not exactly in the best shape to contend for the win, Will Legge pitting. So he would rejoin the field at the tail end for this restart. Now watch Bibs in the 57. The now much slower laps car on the bottom. Oppenheimer clears him. Alan Reed clears him. Ross Lowry in the 80 is going to clear him, but Herb Cilantro makes a questionable decision. Thinks he can shoot the gap under the 57, but the 57 blocks. And Bibson has apparently had enough with the way everyone has been treating him, as he does not appear to be very gracious for any of the drivers from 4th on back right now. And they are scrambling to get past him. Brad Simmons and Michael Carter going 4 wide. And they're going to clear that Dodge Charger, as is most of the inside and middle lanes. There's Herb Cilantro finally getting by. I don't know what Bibson was thinking. If he was really that pent up for whatever reason, there was no reason to take it out on the rest of the field. But on the bright side of things, the first lead change of the day is about to happen on lap 10 of 60 as they hit the line. Alan Reed leads his first lap of the day. But the top 3 very, very far out right now, thanks in no small part, I'm sure, to the actions of Bibson. Now here is Alan Reed's in the lead, and here is a car owned by his old rival, Florence Garth, driven by Ross Lowry, of course. Florence Garth just starting that 4-car operation this year with plenty of backing from LifeLock, as there is Lowry taking the lead. And even if you don't know anything about anything in AARO competition, I think you've still heard the name Florence Garth, one of the most decorated drivers of its early era, decided to get into the ownership game this year, and he should be pretty proud of himself, because that's one of his Chevrolet SS's leading the pack. We're going to head back to Mike Oppenheimer here for a second, and he is in this race, I believe it's worth mentioning, on that Talladega victory he had pretty late in the season, that thrilling 3-wide finish with the Fords of Alex Jates and Joey Johnson, as he prefers to be called. The margin of victory in that race was a scant 2/100ths of a second, so Mike Oppenheimer counting his blessings for sure just being here. Here are Brad Simmons and Tim Averill, the upset McKinley winner last year. I think upset is an understatement. He was making his debut. Now Averill is driving another one of those new Pontiacs, and General Motors had a long-standing agreement, about 5 years up to this point, with XV Racing Builders, and XV would build the bodies and engines for the Trans Am if necessary after Pontiac was getting ready to close down. So they finally put it to use this year, and the Trans Am is out on the track. And meanwhile, as I got caught up in the technicalities of things, I'm going to miss Mike Oppenheimer going for the lead on Lowry. And in turn number 3, Lowry looks like he might be throwing the block, but Oppenheimer wants that top spot. And if this was the last lap, how close would it be? Lowry by about a fender length. And Alan Reeds wants a piece of the lead as well. He is all over Oppenheimer, using the apron even a bit. Fantastic racing for the lead. Livonia Raceway, one of the oldest tracks on the schedule, and the first to have ever had an AARO race run in America. Definitely living up to its storied history. Alan Reeds again going for the top spot. That Buick peeking under, Lowry in the Chevrolet sneaking in behind. Reeds pushing up, they're going 3 wide, or close to it again, as Oppenheimer's going to slip in behind the 19. Coming into turn 3 again, that steeply banked corner. Here goes Lowry. Back to the point again. Oppenheimer going back to the inside. Lowry and Reeds both in this race on pole positions they scored last year. Oppenheimer back to the bottom. Trying for the top spot again in the Old Spice Dodge. And it is Chevrolet, Dodge, Buick into turn number 3 again. That steeply banked set of corners, and they are approaching a lapped car. You can't quite make out who it is. Oh no, it's David Lee Bibson! Look out, guys! Oppenheimer's gonna clear him. Reeds looks like he has the preferred line. Lowry gonna get stuck behind though, just for a moment. And I would bet all the money in the world Lowry is furious with Bibson! He's putting the bumper to him! Bibson going around again! Oh no! That's Lochner! Simmons into the air! And Lowry is in it! Lowry is in it! A rather mistimed act of retaliation for Ross Lowry leads to disaster for not only him, but Cody Lochner and Brad Simmons, the Super Speedway King as they call him. There is Lochner's first impact, and there is Simmons getting into him, toppling over both Fords, and Lowry drives away. Simmons driving away, but Cody Lochner done for the day. Here we are on board. Grant Jacobs, the defending winner of this race. The 20-year-old out of Florida just nips the carnage. And I'm certainly not saying that Bibson was not a huge impediment and a huge danger to his fellow drivers, but you have to wonder if Lowry maybe could have thought that out just a little more before deciding to act on anything. Lowry certainly known for committing mistimed acts of aggression, shall we say, in the past. Here are the leaders, those top 3 cars coming down into pit road. We're not quite sure of everyone's strategy at the moment, but the rest of the field, we're told, is coming in. So I don't think anyone is taking too big of a gamble, but there's Oppenheimer heading into the first pit stall designated for the pole sitter. You see the jack going up on the right side as everyone else kind of filters into their own box. Waiting to see who gets in, who gets out first. Oppenheimer only taking 2 tires. He's going to get out with the lead. Lipinski to second. Reeds falls back to third as they get out. Who is that? That is Matt Conch in the 85. The New Jerseyan, who was up there in the 250 last year, or at least the opening stages of it. There are Legge and Averill. Dalen Scranton, Alex Jason, Tommy Richer, son of the 9-time champion Fred, having a little battle heading out of the pits. So as they line up for the restart, David Lee Bibson is again going to be next to Oppenheimer, and you have to wonder what else he is going... Oh, no. Oh, Oppenheimer is on the apron. Does he have a mechanical problem? He appears to be slowing up. Oh, no, this could be big trouble for the man who was the leader. There is the gray plume of smoke. Yup. Oppenheimer with a blown engine. His day is done after a very promising start, mixing it up with some of the most well-known names in AARO, as this would hand the lead to Chad Lipinski, who was in this race on behalf of his win at Boston. You see his teammate Will Legge snaking it through 3 wide with Bibson and Conti, trying desperately to clear that last car, but Lipinski ironically enough, got that win at Boston after, guess what, a mechanical failure by Herb Cilantro, the 42 car. And as Leggy's move pays off and he gets by Conti, it's going to be a 1-2-3 for Buick Regals, with Ovoda Motorsports cars holding 2 of those top 3 spots. So Buick, the first showing for that model name since 1989, when all the way back when this was the Canadian Racing Association. They switched to providing the LeSabre 4 teams later that year. When they came back in 2010, it was the Lucerne. And here we are today, coming full circle. But as you just saw in that last shot, Matt Conti is ready to spoil the party. He's going to take the lead. No, Will Leggy wants to make it 3 wide and keep the lead for Ovoda. Tim Averill for the Nate Smith operation, following him on the bottom line. And Conti squeezing Reeds just a bit too much. They're heading into 1, but they're going to sort everything out. And Averill back to 2nd on the inside. Still following Leggy, Lipinski has gone back to 3rd. Averill, who again is in this race on behalf of that shocking win at McKinley. Of course, that track only on the schedule for 3 seasons beginning in the 2nd of 2009, but has already gained quite the reputation, whether good or bad, whatever you think of it, for producing wreckfests. That's pretty much the only way you can describe it. And speaking of McKinley, here's its inaugural winner, Herb Cilantro, who won that race in very spectacular fashion by coming across the line backwards, and he had another scare, nearly turning around Averill. So these drivers not afraid to play in close quarters. As Cilantro takes the lead from Averill, he's not the only one that's done it. As we've seen several times today, it's probably just a product of the track, as just as we're talking about it, there is Jates playing a little bumper tag with Cilantro. You can bet he wants the lead bad. Wants the 2nd straight win for Ford in this race as Alan Reeds slots in behind him in the Buick. Matt Conti behind Reeds in the Dodge Charger. Cilantro keeping that steady line on the inside as he and Jates start to pull away. Now here is Jates, the field encounters Bibson again! Cilantro squeaks by, threads the needle between those 2 yellow cars, and surprisingly he'll keep the lead for now. A gutsy move by both he and Jates. I suppose at this point you'd have to have all the guts in the world to just get by that 57 unscathed. So after another major scare, Conti's going to go to 3rd, Leggy to 4th, and hello Greg Sauer. We have not seen much of him lately, but he is up to 5th place. Greg Sauer, known for his proficiency on tracks where heavy braking is required. And here is Alex Jates, finally got the inside here on Herb Cilantro. Looks like he's going to get the top spot. Let's see if Cilantro can battle back on the outside. Cilantro driving a scheme this year that is pretty reminiscent of his rookie car. And it appears as we're coming to 20 laps to go, yes, Jates has overtaken the 42. Give him the point. Cilantro to 2nd, back to 2nd, I should say, and Leggy pressuring him for that runner-up spot. Sauer looks like he's going to follow in his wake. Of course, not much of a wake, as these cars are only topping out at around 120 miles an hour. And there's Conti and Reeds having their own battle in the back. Averill preparing to join them, perhaps. Here is Sauer now trying to take 2nd. He's got the preferred line in the rubber on the bottom. And funneling out of turn number 2, Leggy not able to stay with the 24, in fact, and give Greg Sauer 2nd place as Cilantro heads under the 15, takes advantage of that for 3rd, and he wants 2nd as well on Greg Sauer. Here he goes to the bottom of the racetrack, and they are encountering Brad Simmons, the lap car. That Ford Fusion heavily injured, metaphorically speaking, in that lap 20 crash. Jace looks like he's going to go by. Cilantro following him. Sauer stuck on the outside. Leggy trying to thunder in before Sauer can do anything, and they're going to go 3 wide for a bit. Reeds under the 24 as well. And is it just me, or am I using the word thunder a lot lately? Anyway, as we are on lap 46, Cilantro has gone back to the lead. Jace to 2nd, pulling into the inside again. He wants the top spot back, and perhaps a bump and run, nearly using the apron like we saw Alan Reeds do early in the race. And if he does decide to go that route, we know Herb Cilantro can take it. He grew up on the short tracks of Tennessee. 1 lap later, Jates right behind Cilantro. There it is, the bump and run. Cilantro sliding up the track. Jates leads the lap. And as that was going on, the pack has really tightened up. A lot of cars now back into the picture, but specifically look at Tommy Richter on the outside We haven't talked about him at all today, and here he is perhaps ready to get a win on the track his father christened. Maybe I'll get to him more later, but here's a replay of the bump and run by Jade. Cilantro just shoots up the racetrack. And as I was saying earlier, with Cilantro being rather comfortable with this, he pulled a similar move actually on Aaron Fisher to try and take second in the closing stages of this race last season. Here is Will Legge, Matt Conti. Look out, Legge, you're not exactly clear. That could have been a huge mess like the ones we saw earlier today. Legge and Conti fighting for just too little space this late in the going. Fast approaching 10 to go, and the newest obstacle for the leaders, Tyler Deefer, off the pace after the lap 20 wreck. But the Buffalo Wild Wings and GoDaddy.com cars look like they're going to get by. Legge to second. Sauer going to follow him through. Cilantro caught on the outside again. Let's see if Reeds can maybe catch up to him. Cilantro wants the inside. Deefer not giving him any room. And Cilantro wants none of that. He just wants by the 20, and he wants to fight for the win, as does, I'm sure, everyone else behind him. And unluckily for Cilantro, they are fast approaching. That is Lipinski and Averill and Reeds as they head into 3. Is Deefer finally going to be gracious? I guess not. Cilantro may be seeing an opening. Lipinski tries to go for it. Cilantro hooks the 20. He is getting really impatient, but they're going to go 3 wide. Let's see if the 42 and the 18 can use the outside. The 20 crowds them both! Or just the 42, I should say, as Lipinski was pushing up the track on his own, but I'm just not sure why Deefer feels the need to mix it up in this battle for position, as it is going to take all but 3 cars out of the picture for the win. As we are on 3 laps to go, here is Greg Sauer making a move on Legge. He's got just under 2 miles now to try to get to Alex Chase. We just crossed the line for 2 to go. Sauer is coming. Ever so slowly, but make no mistake, he is coming. They're at 2 to go, coming to the white flag. Sauer has halved Yates' lead. They've got 1 more mile to go. White flag at Livonia. Yates trying to hold his own. Sauer trying to get his first win in the AAA Shootout. Less than a mile now. Past those low banked corners and out of the backstretch for the final time. Sauer less than 5 car lengths back. Yates in the Fusion. Sauer in the Trans Am. Into 3. Into 4. There is Bimson. Yates to the outside. Sauer wicked loose. And by less than a car length. As they split the 57. It is Alex Yates taking the win. I don't know how Sauer held on to that car. Or how, for that matter, Yates even picked a line to get past the 57. But here it is in super slow motion. Watch the one. Yates just makes a split-second decision to commit to the outside. Sauer is closing on the 57 car way too fast. And he somehow hangs on to the car. Nearly is forced to spin it out to avoid the 57. And it leads all in all to yet another very memorable Livonia finish. Here are the final results. Again, Yates over Sauer. The margin, 7/100ths of a second. Will Legge just about half a second back. The highest finishing of the Ovoda cars, and they all made it into the top 10. So great showing by that team. Tommy Richer in the start of his first full season rather, with Rennes, rebounds to 4th place after rather an anonymous start. So great job by the Calgary native. Let's see if he can back it up this year. Herb Cilantro, with his rather eventful race, manages a top 5. Matt Conti 6th. Alan Reed 7th. So the veteran showing he's still able to get it done, especially at Livonia. Tim Averill, another driver entering his first full season. A top 10 by him and the other 2 Ovoda Buicks. Chad Lipinski and Jalen Scranson round out the top 10. That'll just about wrap it up for today, but don't go away, AARO fans. The 20th running of the Livonia 250 is just around the corner.